Hello, everyone. I'm Candy Henty, Executive Director of the Farmington Regional Chamber. On behalf of the Chambers of Commerce in St. Francis County, that is Park Hills, Leadington, Deloge, and Bonne Terre, we want to welcome you to the annual State of St. Francis County address. And with that, I'd like to introduce one of our guest speakers this morning, Presiding Commissioner Harold Gallaher. Harold graduated from Bismarck High School and then the University of Missouri at Rolla with a degree in mechanical engineering. After graduation, he came back to Bismarck to join ST Eccles Incorporated as a designer and corporate officer. Within 6 years, Harold purchased the company and then grew it to international sales. Their main product, rather ironically this morning, was the snow cone machine that was very popular at the time. In fact, the Eccles brand of ice shaver was the world's leader in snow cone machines. After selling the Eccles Corporation in 1988, Harold started and developed another business, Harold's Famous Bee Company, that markets the patented Harold's Famous Bee Cream, now sold nationwide. Harold's tenure as Presiding Commissioner of St. Francis County started on January 1st, 2015. He has found that a mixture of business experience, along with his knowledge and training in engineering, have helped tremendously in assessing and solving many of the problems that arise on a daily basis in governmental leadership. And with that, Harold, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Candy. Like she says, I'm Harold Gallaher, Presiding Commissioner of the county, and welcome to this 2021 State of St. Francis County address. We have, I do want to thank the chambers, as she mentioned, the Park Hills, Leadington, and Deloge and Bonne Terre chambers, and especially the Farmington Regional Chamber, because they are hosting it this year, and I do appreciate all the work you guys do. It's phenomenal. We have two new associate commissioners. Carrie Buckley is a new District 1 associate commissioner, and David Cater is our new District 2 associate commissioner. Most of you know both of these people. They've been very active in our local communities for years. Carrie operated a business operating in record service for something like 30 years, and David was mayor of Deloge for 16 years. So they are very well known, but I did want to introduce them as commissioners. My thanks too to Gay and Patrick. We served as a team for 6 years. We got a lot of stuff done, a lot of improvements for the county during those years, and I wish them the very best in whatever they do next. As most of you know, 2020 didn't go like we had planned. By March, I saw businesses changing the way they were doing things. By early April, I was very concerned about whether our sales tax revenue would hold up. And so we started having to change our buildings and how we work with people, as all the businesses did. And we started doing all these things. And we also had the added duty of distributing the $7.885 million for the CARES Act from the federal government through the state that that helped the people that were really suffering because of COVID. Now, most of that has been distributed. There's about $466,000 that is still not distributed yet. Most of that has been authorized, but we're waiting for final paperwork from those companies or businesses or entities that will be getting that money. So most of it's been done, but this was a very time-consuming, paperwork-intensive duty to get this out. The county had to make several changes, just as all our businesses did. Now all of our office buildings, the Weber Road facility, the courthouse, and the annex building all have no contact entry doors. So you don't have to go up and hand touch anything. It's automatic. We used to call them electric eyes in the old days. We've added partitions between our employees and the public in most cases, so that there's no direct interchange of possible virus. And then we've added an outside box for drive-up deposit of your taxes that will probably be added to assessment in short order. And then we've added work-at-home facilities. We've bought laptops and various things so that some of our employees can work at home when they are quarantined or isolated. We've also had to alter our jail setup. We have a lot of transitionary people coming through the jail. Now that may be, I'm supposed to call them detainees, not prisoners. But anyway, it's detainees being brought from, say, the prison on the way to the courthouse, but they have to be stored, for lack of a better word, for some short time. So rather than mix those with our general population, we have 5 new isolation cells that we can put that in. So that was a major duty that we had to get done this year. By April of 2020, I was very concerned about our sales tax income. Like I say, I was watching businesses change the way they had to do business. And you got to know that sales tax is about half of our operating county funding for what we do. It's about $10 million, and we run about $21 million annual budget for county operations. So any decrease in sales tax would really be a factor that we'd have to worry about. So by April, I'd sent out an email to all the office holders saying, basically, I know you budgeted for things that you need to be updated in your office, but if it's not critical, let's hold the money until we find out more about this. Turns out by mid-year, we realized that the sales tax was actually increasing. Matter of fact, we increased about 9.5% by the end of the year. And that's based on that 9.5% is based on $10 million. So it's about $1 million increase in our sales taxes. And that's based on 2019, which also was a good year. So we didn't have to cut back on what we did for the year, but we were late in getting started for the things we did for the year. Now, completed paving projects for last year. These are roads that we did get finished. Now, we had to wait until mid-year, let's say, because of the funding question to get started on this. And then our guys have to do a lot of preliminary work. And then we call in the contractors to do the actual physical paving of the road. It takes about $70,000 per mile to pave a road. So that's where some of these, you can figure out some of the distances on these roads just for that. But we have to go in, our crews have to go in, and to prepare a road, we take out any defective road pipe, culverts, replace those. You don't want to put new paving over a bad pipe. They'll have to be replaced in fairly short order. We also clean the ditches and maybe widen them and clean off all overhead low-hanging limbs. We are required to clean those off. First of all, when you're paving a road, your dump truck has to have a bed fully up, so you have to be able to clear that. Also, you have emergency equipment that has to be able to travel under this low-hanging limb situation. Had one road this year that had a nice picturesque canopy over the road, but it was low, and we had to cut it down. And one of the residents on that road, a lady, I can use that word carefully, called me up and gave me several new names, most of them with 4-letter words in it. I didn't particularly like any of her names, but we had cut her road canopy down, and she was really distraught about that. But we had to do that. When fire trucks can be a tall piece of equipment, an ambulance can be a tall piece of equipment, the emergency lighting and everything is on top of those. So you can't drive those into a low-hanging limb situation. So it's a law that we have to trim that. I'm sorry, lady, we do take those phone calls occasionally, but that's the way it goes. So this is what we got finished in 2020. Now, planned, and I use that word very carefully, is our 2021 projects, or these situations. I say planned because we may have a road that blows up completely in this weather. It just, the freezing and the thawing and the ice and all that just completely tears up the road, and it just has to be moved in priority over one of these. But you can see that we try to break up the mileage between District 1 and District 2, or the north and south part of the county. So we try to break that up evenly so that we don't have one group of people getting all the new roads. So that's just the way we try to do it. And again, it's about a $70,000 per mile situation. Also, I forgot to mention on the sales tax revenue, that $10 million, or going on $11 million, only 32% of that is paid by local residents. 68% of the sales tax income we get is by visitors from outside the county that come here to shop. Some study somehow figured that out. I don't know how they worked that, but that's a very interesting factor. We are a destination county. completed bridge projects, again, we had to wait till the last half of the year to get these done. But those are the 4 bridges that we did this year. There's one of the pictures of one of the bridges. They're beautiful situations. And planned is, again, it depends on the situation. Now, our bridges are determined by a state inspection that's done every other year. That has just been completed. We do not have the report back yet, but these are what we are pretty sure will be replaced in this next year. And again, planned, that can change when the report comes out, or whatever disaster we have on a bridge, so that can change at any moment. In the past several years, when we hire new people for the road and bridge department, we not only look for somebody that can operate a piece of equipment or drive a dump truck, but we want them to have extra skills: carpentry, concrete, plumbing, electrical, whatever, and other things too. And so by doing that, we have a very diverse group of people working for us. And that means that if we have some small electrical problem in one of our buildings, our guys just go fix it. We don't have to call in a contractor and do that. And it saves us a lot of money. It's usually a lot quicker. And frankly, we find it better that way. And we've taken on a lot of projects. We've got people that we've built our own bridges because we have people, carpentry, that build forms. We have concrete people that know how to lay the concrete. Our bridges stack up there with the contractor's quality. So we're very happy with that. And we save a lot of money when we do that too. So we're happy with our people. We want to replace the office area at the south barn located on Woodlawn Drive, and that's next to the sale barn. You see the very faded picture here. Sorry about that. But the arrow's pointing to the little building there in the foreground, or on the right-hand side. And we're going to tear that down. Now, when we bought this property, that was a glass-sided display building. Those people that owned the property before were fixing old cars, and they parked the old car in there so people driving by on Woodlawn Drive could see their work. And it was just a showroom, and it looked like a greenhouse. And it's now getting in bad shape. The underpinnings, the wood's rotting, and it's leaking water. And so we're going to tear that down and build a building about twice the size. The new one's going to be something like 45 by 80. It's going to have room in it for a conference table and a break room. We don't have that now. You'll see temporarily, when that building comes down, you'll see a couple of construction trailers going in for a temporary office building. If I can pull it up quickly, I want to read to you something that I got from Road and Bridge this morning. This is from Clay Copeland, our supervisor. Road and Bridge has been working around the clock with 2 shifts since Monday, February the 8th. That's a week ago. We will continue with this rotation probably the rest of this week to address this impending winter weather. Throughout the middle of the night, we address primary roadways, problem areas, dangerous intersections, major hills and curves, and 911 central dispatch calls. Throughout the day shift, we run all routes and all roads. MoDOT requires that you can only operate 14 hours without a rest. So that's why they're working the 2 shift situation on that. They'll work the 12 hours and then take a break and then be ready for the next one. So our guys are very busy, and probably everybody in this audience got up this morning and wondered if the roads were clear. Our guys were up all night making sure they were, doing their best to get them there. We are going to develop the north barn for salt storage. On the upper right-hand part of the screen is 67 Highway. And then this is the old MoDOT property that we bought, I guess, 6 or 8 years ago. And this is just south of the Von Terre exit. The building you see at the bottom of the picture, the white top building, is a fire department for Von Terre. And across to the front of that, to our right, is a wooded area. That wooded area has been cleared now, and it's ours. And we are going to put a salt shed in there, a concrete structure with a 15-year life fabric top. And then we will have salt and mix up there ready for the trucks working in the northern part of the county to come there and reload, rather than drive all the way to Farmington to reload to get a new mix to spread on the roads. So it'll save a lot of time for them, and it will help our people in the north have clear roads quicker that way. So that's this year's project. Still tight on office space in our buildings. You see the list here, and these are the 8 factors or departments, I'll say, that we've added since I've been in office here. The morgue and the top five, the morgue, the election central, emergency management director, the coroner's office, and the autopsy suite are all in the Weber Road facility. And that facility is now absolutely full. There's not a square inch to add for anything else out there. Then the IT is in a department, and we robbed some space from the extension office for that. The floodplain manager is in the commission office. We were already out of space. And the human resources director is working out of the county clerk's office. So we're out of space on that. And all these people need a place to have a desk, have an office, have a filing cabinet, and have their own space to work. So we're out of those spaces. I have another issue, another problem that maybe I can solve two problems at one time. We have record storage in the basement of the courthouse. And it's most of the basement of the courthouse is allocated to paper records from old court records years ago. I don't know how far back it goes, 70 years, maybe, I don't know, but a long time back, long time records. And if you stand in the middle of those and look up, you'll see a water sprinkler system. So if the papers catch on fire, the water kicks on and soaks all the records. So both of them are bad situations. So we do need to correct this. We need to get those records out from paper records out from under a water suppression system. And I'm thinking maybe building an archive building somewhere, maybe a concrete bunker, I don't know, something, but we can do that cheaper and we can build office space, and moving the records to a dry area with dry fire suppression system, and moving those out of there would create maybe office space for the future. And if you think, well, basement office, that's not a good thing. Well, it was an office up until 2006. In 2006, when the annex building was open, until that time, everything in the annex building now was in the courthouse, and the sheriff's department or sheriff's office was in the courthouse also. I don't know how they did it, but somehow they did. And we've got fewer people working for us now than then. I guess technology, it does take a bigger desk and such to have people, but still, I don't know how they were able to pack it in at that time. So it could be that adding an archives building would solve some of our space situations too. So something to look for. We're looking at that. Now, we have, I'll say, consistently grown, not steadily. You see the numbers jump around, but we've consistently grown in assessed valuation of the county. And over the last 6 years, 17.5%. This does include appreciation of existing properties, and new buildings have gone up too. Now, we have new census figures that'll be coming out soon. End of March is the scheduled date. And we've been using the 2010 census figures, which show an excess of 67,000 citizens living in St. Francis County. Strictly a guess on my part. I have no foundation to guess this. I'm guessing we'll go to 72,000 plus, or 7% increase. We'll see if I can guess properly. We must, as a county, stay in business. Like I say, all of you probably asked if the roads are clear this morning. That's how you do your normal business. That's where you go to work, you go to school, you go to church, you go to the store. That's how you operate. And all the businesses must stay in. And again, emergency vehicles must be able to get to your place. So it's important that no matter what the situation, whether national disaster, whatever, we've got to be out and keep those roads clear. We have people that are assigned the duty of taking county trucks home with them at night, because those trucks are equipped with the chainsaws and the equipment that they'll need when we get that 911 call that there's a tree across the road somewhere. They go out straight from the house, straight to the site, and correct that problem and get the road back in operation. So we have to do that. We must stay in business. And I always think about the Joplin tornado or an earthquake or something like that. If we get a major shutdown, we're going to have to do something to stay in business. We've got to pay our suppliers. We got to buy fuel, we got to buy equipment, got to pay our people. We got to keep the trucks moving. And again, we got to do this so you can do your life. And it's very important that we do that. We are a growing dynamic county. We've seen in every aspect, we see growth, and I'm thankful for that, but we got to keep our systems and infrastructure going. We got to keep those roads in top condition and bridges going and everything else. We are a first-class county. We're making every effort to live up to that distinction. I'm proud of our county and the people that as county employees we work for. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you.
Are you open for any questions, Harold?
Yes.
You talked about some money that had not been allocated yet from the CARES Act. Do we run any risk of losing any of that money if it's not spent?
We are looking at it. The deadline has been extended until July. And so we're looking at maybe offering another group of applications.
Okay.
To do that.
Okay. But if we don't get the applications, we don't expend it, is it gone?
Yeah, it goes back if we don't expend it. So
okay.
We're trying to keep it here.
All right.
And we've been assured by our elected officials in Jeff City that they don't want it back. They want us to keep it here and keep it in the economy.
Okay. And the second question, you experienced in the county the same thing we did in the city of Deloge about an increase in revenue. We're scratching our heads as to why. Do you have any feel for why we had that increase?
I always say that when I want to visit my cousins from Reynolds County or Iron County, I just go to Walmart and wait for them because they plan their trips. Everybody down there, not everybody, but a big part of the people down there plan a trip to Farmington or St. Francis County for some reason on a regular basis, maybe once a week, whatever. And while they're here, they buy a shirt and they buy a lunch and take back the groceries. So yeah, I think that's it. And also we've understood that, well, you can see it in price of lumber, that a lot of people are remodeling and they come to our big box stores to get the supplies.
It's all good. It's all good.
If I may, if you have a question, if you will type it into the chat box and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. This is being broadcast on our local radio stations right now. And so with that, we also have invited Dr. Joe Gilgour, who is president of Mineral Area College, to give us an update on the college and where things stand. As we know, he began as president at Mineral Area College in July of 2019 and has over 14 years of experience in higher education. And we were very excited. He's been very active within the community and within the chambers of commerce, and has led the college through some very challenging times. And so I would like to yield the floor to Dr. Gilgour for his update. And at the end of the presentation, we will address all the questions that are in the chat box, if you will. So Dr. Gilgour, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Thanks, ma'am.
I am Dr. Joe Gilgour, president of Mineral Area College, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you at the State of the County address. I did get to be in person at the last one last year. I'm where I come from, that wasn't something that happened, so I really appreciate this type of event. I'll try not to take too much of your time, but there were several things that I wanted to go over concerning Mineral Area College and kind of where we're at right now. So just generally, what I'm going to cover is I want to do just a little bit of update on our recognitions, our sign project, some student success, 2020 to 2021, and then talk about 2021 and what is next for Mineral Area College as we go forward. So first up is recognition. One of the first things I wanted to focus on coming in 2019 was increasing our recognition of employees at Mineral Area College, because I have worked for 3 two-year institutions in the state, and I have worked with all community colleges in the state in my career. And I can tell you without a doubt that MAC has some of the best faculty and staff that you're going to find anywhere in the state of Missouri. And so when it comes an opportunity to recognize them for that, I like to do that. And so we nominated for the Missouri Community College Association Awards, which is a statewide organization that we're all a part of. And we nominated for every category. We only got 4, but we're very proud of those 4. And so those were the Governor's Award for Excellence in Teaching, which is Emily Murdoch, the Senior Service Award, which was Dr. Diana Stewart. That's the second time she has won that award. And the Faculty Innovation Award went to Dr. Bennett Wood. And then, of course, our distinguished legislator, Dale Wright. Dale is a proud MAC alum and works very hard at the Capitol for us and all community colleges and education every day. So we really appreciate that. And we're happy to recognize Dale in that way. We did start a sign project in 2020, and it seems so long ago, 2020. And basically, this was a project where we put 4x8 signs on business property and take a picture with the business owner and their sign, and then promote them through social media on MAC. They're free signs for the businesses, but we found that a lot of businesses were struggling in 2020 due to COVID. And so we wanted to be able to help out a little way that we could. We know these businesses are also showing support for MAC. And so this is a way for businesses to show support for the college, but also us to show support for them by promoting their business a little bit on social media. And then we also have a page on our website where you can see all the signs. The screen you're looking at now, if you're watching the presentation, you can see just a selection of signs. We have many more to come out. It's really bad time, as you know, outside to get signs up right now. The ground's hard, there's a lot of snow, but as soon as we can, we'll get more signs out. So if anybody's interested in having one of those at their business in St. Francis County, or even if you're from outside the county watching this, we're happy to bring those out. Our guys put them up, our guys will take them down. And, we just ask that you keep them there as long as you can. There's no cost, and we do everything to help promote your business at the same time. So it's been a very successful project, I think. And those pictures were taken on warm, sunny days. So student success, there's just a couple of things I'd like to touch on. There's all kinds of student success stories here, but I don't have enough time in this presentation to talk about all of them. But the first one I want to talk about is our cross-country team. Men's cross country, in their first year of competition at the national tournament in 2019, won the national tournament. So we're very, very happy about that. But what made it even better is in 2020, they went back and won it again. And so back-to-back national champions in the 98-year history of Mineral Area College and Flat River Junior College. We've never had a national championship in any sport. And so it's really neat to see these student athletes, their hard work that goes into it. They were out running in 0-degree temperature. To be honest, they're probably running today. And the coach, Steve Davis, and the team worked very hard. So we're very proud of those students. And of course, they're great students in the classroom as well. And next up is the nursing success. I'm very proud of our nursing program. If you know any instructors there, Angie Erickson has a fantastic team and does a great job with our nursing program. And this is one of the things I'm really proud of in community colleges, because 80% of law enforcement and healthcare professionals in the United States go through a community college. And so we're very proud of our contribution to the community and what we do here. So here's some data that I'm proud of with the nursing success: 87% ADN pass rate, national average is 84. They have an 88% PN pass rate, 81% PN retention rate. That's up from 54%. So that is huge. It's a really big accomplishment of the nursing program. And something that I'm really, I think, most proud of is that during a pandemic in 2020, we were able to put 71 licensed nurses into the field during this crisis in America. And that's fantastic, because that's what we're here for. We were able to send students in, nurses, and graduated our first cohort of paramedic students, which again, those first responders out there, most of them come through community colleges, and we're happy to be able to provide that for our community. So let's talk about 2020. 2020 was obviously not good. Harold pointed at that. There's, everybody had a tough time in 2020, understatement. But there were a lot of good things that happened as well. But I do want to address some things that took place at Mineral Area College that you've obviously read about, I'm sure, in the newspaper that are appropriate for this conversation. So unfortunately, we had to make reductions in the past year. This was not something that any of us wanted to do. And, if you asked me as I came into my first presidency, I never wanted to do this ever in my career. And I've done it twice in my first year. So it is not something that we take lightly. These were not easy decisions to be made. But I think it's important that you, as taxpayers to Mineral Area College, understand the reasoning behind these decisions. So first off, MAC has seen a steady reduction in enrollment over the past 5 years. In fact, the worst enrollment decrease in the state among all community colleges and public universities, by percentage, of course. And so that's really not good. And we don't necessarily can't put our finger on why that is. And it actually, the enrollment decline started before 5 years, but every fall, the state of Missouri puts out a list of the last 5 years of enrollment for all colleges and universities in the state. And so, we hate to see MAC on the bottom of that list, and we're working hard to increase that. But enrollment is about 36% of our operating budget. And we are not for profit. We're not here to get rich or make money. We don't have shareholders, those type of things. But we do have to pay the bills. And we have to provide supplies and equipment and pay salaries and all of these things to help keep Mineral Area College operating. So 36% of your budget, when you see huge decreases in there, it really takes a big toll. State core funding for community colleges right now is the same level it was in the 90s. You would think since the 90s, possibly inflation, something, it would have gone up. Nope. Community colleges have not seen an increase. And it's really rough. This is really hard because things aren't the same as they were in the 90s, as you probably are aware, 25 years ago. But other education sectors have seen increases. And we're not asking for anyone to be reduced, of course, or any cuts to any education sectors. We're proud of our K through 12 partners and our university partners. We're just asking for equity to be treated equally in that. And I'll get to a little bit more of that in a second. In April of 2020, Governor Parson announced he was taking 1/12 of our state funding. Now that's April. Our fiscal year ends June 30th, so that only leaves May and June. So 1/12 is basically May of our entire funding for that month. And then he came back in May and said he was going to go ahead and take the rest of it for the fiscal year, which again, we had anticipated a little bit of that. We had been in conversations with the governor's office and legislators, and we knew the state was in trouble, and this was probably something that had to happen. And then on July 1, the governor came back, as he said he would, and went ahead and took the rest, took another chunk from the new fiscal year. But again, as bad as that was, we planned for that. Our sources in Jefferson City, through our legislators, through lobbyists, through other contexts we knew this was coming. And we hoped it wouldn't. It was one of those things you plan for the, hope for the best and plan for the worst type of thing. And unfortunately, it did come. Now, we did see that the governor did return the 2022 fiscal year withholding that he did take just recently. And that's great because when we looked at our worst case scenario for budget reductions and our best case scenario for budget reductions, we were not even able to get to the number of our best case scenario, which meant there was a gap, increasing the chances of having to reduce or cut costs more. So the governor releasing those funds actually helped us fill that gap and make it almost zero chance that we have to do any more reductions this year. So we're very, very happy about it because obviously nobody wants to see that. And then, of course, COVID-19 expenses and enrollment issues. COVID had a huge impact on college enrollment throughout the nation. And now all colleges in Missouri are down enrollment for the most part due to COVID-related issues. We also did get financial gain. You heard Harold talk about the CARES Act going through this county. We also received federal CARES Act money. The higher education package in December was $22 billion for higher education in the United States. That equaled about 2 billion or 2 million, sorry, with an M for Mineral Area College. And but half of that had to go directly to students. It could not be used to pay for student debt or student enrollment or scholarships. We just had to cut a check and send them to students. And so that's fine because we knew a lot of our students were struggling, losing jobs, struggling with their income with COVID issues. But we were basically a pass-through on half of that money. The other half was highly restrictive. We could only use it for certain things. In fact, many colleges and universities in Missouri are struggling right now to figure out how to spend that money because it is so restrictive. The next CARES Act that could be coming is about $40 billion for higher education. And so it's almost twice as much that was there in the fall. And we have asked, we met with Senator Blunt on Wednesday and asked him if he could push for more flexibility in that spending, that we can have a little more flexibility in that goes, because before you couldn't use it for personnel, you could only use it for equipment, which we had a lot of expenses with Zoom and webcams and things like this to go remote. But he said he was advocating for that, so we're really appreciative of that information. So I do want to clarify some misinformation since I have a mic and an opportunity to do that. I'm going to tell you something that maybe you're not aware, and I don't know, it shouldn't surprise you, I guess, but there's misinformation on Facebook. I know it's crazy. It's crazy that happens, but Facebook is not always accurate. That's probably breaking news to many of you, but it's true. And so I want to clarify some things about Mineral Area College that I've picked up through social media. Most of it said about me, but we'll see where we can go with that. So first of all, if you're watching this or listening on the radio, you care about St. Francis County. Whether you agree with everything that happens in this county or not, that's not the point. You care about it. And so we take it very seriously to be good stewards of your tax dollars. If you live in St. Francis County, you pay taxes to Mineral Area College just as you do your local school district. And so we take that very seriously. And we want to make sure that tax dollars that come into MAC are used for programs and services that there's interest for and that can help support themselves in some way. So when you have a program with very low enrollment, very low majors, very low graduates, things like this, we don't feel it's good use of your tax dollars to spend on those programs when there are others, for instance, our nursing program, as you saw, or our law enforcement academy, that are putting students to work right away. There's a ton of students in those programs, high interest programs. And so that's very important. So I want to start right there with, just so you know, the decisions were purely financial. And we hope that the programs that were reduced can come back someday. We really do believe that they can. We're hoping that that interest will drive those programs in the future. So I also saw on social media that, of course, the arts are cut first. Academics are always cut first. Well, that's not true. In fact, at MAC, academics and the arts specifically were cut last. Starting in 2020, way back many years ago in 2020, we did a 10% across the board reduction of all departments and services. Then we did an actual reduction of personnel of 11 people. We lost 11 good people in the spring, but no academic programs were touched and no teaching faculty were reduced at that time. And then, well, again, once all the data started to come in on budget cuts from the state, enrollment numbers, now we predicted a lot of this stuff. Enrollment, we predicted to be down about 20% this year. And right now it's down about 20% this year. So, I guess we're happy that we got it right. We wish we were right predicting it higher, but that means that we had to take those last cuts. And as I said, we did not even make it to the number on our best case scenario to get to that. Also, we are working to keep the community arts. We've had a lot of interest in the community, which is fantastic, about community theater, community choir, and community band. And we want to keep those things going. They were a very active, vibrant part of our programs, and we want to keep them active. And so we're working with some nonprofit organizations in the area to keep those things going so we can keep providing that culture and that service to the community. We've got the facilities, and hopefully those programs can maybe build back into those active college programs in the future. But I do want to clarify that I've been told that obviously I only care about sports and athletics here at MAC, and I don't care about the arts. So I want to clarify that for you, and tell you a little about myself. When I was a junior in high school, my high school, Chillicothe High School, go Hornets, Chillicothe established a baseball team. Never had a baseball team before, and I was able to letter in baseball my junior and senior year. I played baseball all my life. I love baseball. It's one of my favorite sports. So having said that, though, when I got to college, my major in college was theater. If you can't see it, but that degree right back there says bachelor's degree in theater. I performed in over 35 productions. I've directed, I've acted professionally in Nebraska. I have auditioned for commercials and graduate programs in the fine arts throughout the country. And those didn't work out, obviously. But at the time I was sad, but I'm really glad they didn't because I get to be here with you. But I can tell you the arts had a huge impact on my life. And I would not be standing here before you today if it wasn't for the arts. So we do not take those decisions lightly. Very, very serious, and a lot of long conversations went into that and review of data. If we could have found any other way, we would have. And so I think it's important for people to know that we are still trying to work on that. And if you look at our athletics, yes, you've probably heard we bought a bus for athletics. Now, for those of you that think it showed up on like one of those car commercials with a big bow on it in somebody's driveway, that is not what happened. So every year prior to soccer coming to MAC, we were spending about $100,000 a year on athletic travel to games, tournaments, things like that. And so that's through bus rental. So by purchasing our own bus, which was a 52 passenger bus, we paid $42,000. And if you know anything about 52 passenger buses, that's a good deal. That we bought that bus. That will end up saving MAC $50,000 to $70,000 a year on travel. It was an investment in savings. The bus wasn't so expensive I had to fire people. That's not accurate at all. And people have said, well, you're cutting academics, but you have such a robust athletic program. Well, we do have a robust athletic program, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Our athletics do a tremendous job. We have more sports at this college than any other community college in the state. Okay, you say, well, Joe, why don't you cut some of them? Well, the other side of it is that We have less full-time employees in our athletic department than any community college in the state. We have 3 full-time head coaches for all of our sports, and one of those coaches coaches 2 teams. And so I think all of our assistant coaches basically work for nothing. I probably shouldn't say that in public, but they do. We basically feed them or something for what they do. And so there's really not a lot of places to have reductions there. And all those programs are full of students. And when your enrollment decline is as steady as it was, cutting an athletic program eliminates a bunch of students from your enrollment. Not the best thing to do. So it's not athletics versus academics. It definitely isn't, or athletics versus the arts. You can have both. Just as I did in my career and growing up in high school and college, I loved both. You can love both. You can support both. We don't sacrifice one to support the other. If our athletics are strong, it's not because we're dumping a bunch of money in them. It's because of the hard work of our student athletes and our great coaching staff and our athletic director that work to make those programs successful. So I just wanted to clarify a few things there. And people have asked how they can help. How can we help make sure this doesn't happen again? Well, there are 3 ways. And this is I say this all the time: enrollment, donations, and advocacy. Obviously, if you've ever thought of taking a class at Mac, if you have kids or parents or friends or family that ever wanted to take a class at Mac, now's the time. Get enrolled in classes at Mac because we need you. And so that is a big deal. Again, 36% of our revenue comes in through enrollment. Another way to donate, another way to help is to donate. You can go to the mineralarea.edu website, click on the foundation, and there's lots of opportunities to give to Mac. You want your name on a building? Let's talk. We can talk about that. There's lots of opportunities from $1 to $1 million, whatever it is. All that goes to help student success at Mineral Area College. So I encourage you to look at those options as you and when you can. And if there's not something on that you like to give, you can always give to the general fund, or we can start a new fund that's out of something that you're interested in. And then lastly, of course, is advocacy. As I told you, we are not equitably funded from the state. Community colleges in the state of Missouri educate over 40% of all college students in Missouri. If you've listened to me on the radio or heard me talk before, I've mentioned that, and I won't apologize for it. Over 40% of all college students in Missouri are educated by a community college. However, we only get 15% of state funding for higher education. Universities get 85% of that. And so that's not equitable, and that's really bad. So we'd like to see an increase in that. So advocating with their legislators, with the governor's office specifically, is very good. We are fortunate to have 3 great legislators that work with us all the time. Elaine Gannon, our state senator, Mike Henderson and Dale Wright, state reps. These 3 are the trifecta of education warriors for community colleges, and we really appreciate all they do. And so if you want to advocate with them, call them and tell them you appreciate their work, because they're doing it. But they're just 3 out of 200 or so legislators in the state. And so anything we can do to help advocate for community college funding in this state is definitely helped. So what's next in 2021? Well, there's still lots to offer at Mac. I did read that why would you enroll in Mac? Because there's nothing left to enroll in. That is not true at all. We still have over 80 pathways to a degree or certificate at Mineral Area College. Lots of opportunities. We have some of the best faculty in the state. Mac is still a great place to go to college. And so we encourage students, check it out, get on the website, make a phone call, come visit us, not today, but come visit us, and we'll make sure we can get you in something wherever you want to be. We're still planning technical expansion. That was something that was a big goal when I came in 2019. It started before I got here, and it's been a part of my plan since I got here. Then 2020 slowed some stuff down, but we did get the Community Development Block Grant, which was applied on our behalf by the St. Francis County Commission. So thank you, County Commission. And that is to provide a 4,800 square foot welding facility right here on the Mac campus. Now, a catch to that grant is that we have to have a donation from a business or industry of $338,000. That business or industry will get half of that back in tax credits they can use over multiple years. It's a pretty good deal for the industry that wants to purchase those, but we can't break ground until we sell them. Now, we pretty much had them sold when we got notification of the CDBG grant, but then pandemic hit, and those businesses were not doing so well, were not able to support that purchase. So if you are interested, or you know of anyone anywhere in the state, doesn't have to be in St. Francis County, if anybody's interested in that, we are really needing to get those sold. So please contact Kevin Thurman in the foundation office. His contact information is on our website, and he can help you get those in your possession. We also were awarded the Mo Excels grant, which was a state grant that provided a 4,800 square foot HVAC facility on our campus. That grant was put on hold during 2020, but we've gotten indications that it's going to be back in the budget for fiscal year 22. So we're anxiously awaiting that. That is a matching grant for the CDBG. And so once that's approved, we will start breaking ground and have an HVAC facility right here on campus. And of course, these are all a part of the much larger Center for Excellence, which is a 50,000 square foot facility for adult programming in welding, HVAC, machine tools, industrial electrical maintenance, automotive, all kinds of programs where adult students can get certifications and training and go straight into the workforce. We're really excited to have that. And we had planned a lot more in 2020 for that, but we had to hold off on some, but it's still in the works for the future. We have six, so service regions for community colleges are made up of school districts, not counties. So we have six school districts in our taxing district, which if you're in St. Francis County, you're in one of those. And then, but we also actually are in 28 school districts in 16 counties, all the way out to Texas County with Kabul and Houston and Plato is our part of our service region. They don't pay taxes to MAC, but they do, they are fall within our service region. And so we're looking at expansion. There has been some interest in the Cape Girardeau County area about adding us into Jackson and Cape Girardeau. And so we are interested in expanding into that market. And don't worry, Mineral Area College isn't going anywhere. Park Hills will always be our home forever. But we do have outreach sites in Fredericktown and Potosi and Perryville, and there's no reason Cape Girardeau can't be one of those as well. So more info to come on that. Our Missouri Community College Association legislative agenda is for $30 million added to the core funding of community colleges. When you divide that up over 12 of us, that's not that much per college. And it moves the needle from 15% of state funding to 17% of state funding. So not a huge chunk, but it's a step in the right direction. So that's where we're really focusing our lobbying efforts with our statewide organization in the Capitol to get that equity funding. And of course, I don't know if you know, but in 1922 on September 5th, Flat River Junior College opened its doors to the first students in this area. And so on September 5th, 2022, Mineral Area College will celebrate 100 years, the second oldest community college in the state of Missouri, and we are very excited. So we're going to begin planning that celebration. We hope you're a part of it as we get that going. I'm hoping for probably one of the biggest parties this area has ever seen, because this is a big deal for a college to be that old and still be around, from Flat River Junior College in 1966 changing to Mineral Area College. And so we're very proud to be a part of this community. If you have any questions, my contact information is here, as well as Twitter handle for Mineral Area College. Please reach out if you have any questions. My cell phone number is on there if you need anything. My door is always open unless somebody beats you there, of course. But please come in and chat. My door is always open to employees, students, or community members. But I will ask that if you see anything on social media, if you hear anything in the news about Mineral Area College that you think, that can't be right, please come talk to me. Go straight to the source. I'm going to tell you the truth. It may still not be the answer you want to hear, but I'd be happy to share the information with you as we move forward. So thank you very much for this opportunity to participate in this event this year. It's really been a pleasure. And today's my wife's birthday, so if she's watching, I want to say happy birthday to her on here. But thank you all very much.
And so we do have a couple of questions for each of you. Dr. Gilgour, first for you, this is from Dave Shaw. Did Missouri colleges, state and private, see similar reductions to what MAC saw?
Yeah, I can't speak for the private ones as much, Dave, because they're funded differently than we are. But I know that SEMO reduced several programs just in the last couple of months at Cape Girardeau. There were lots of universities that did. My college I came from, State Fair Community College, saw several reductions. Really, it was a statewide issue that affected all of us. Some have better reserves than others, and so they're able to absorb some of those withholdings and those shortfalls. But for the most part, it was statewide.
Awesome. And might we see you in a theater production locally, Dr. Gilgour?
I think I've retired from the theater, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being a part of it.
I don't know. That could be quite a draw. I'm just saying. We do have a couple of questions for you, Commissioner Gallaher. I'll need you to unmute yourself there for these. One was, is there an update on the Big River Bridge on Berry Road?
Yes, it won't be built. That is a $5 million bridge, and it would be entirely St. Francis County's responsibility to build it. We have no BRO funds for it, and it's just not in the plan. Matter of fact, when the previous commission tore that bridge down, they signed that the county would be totally responsible for replacement of it. There are no federal funds for it.
Okay, and we have two more questions for you also. This one is from Dave Shaw. Again, does anyone know, or maybe you would know, if the state of Missouri saw similar 2020 funding trends as St. Francis County? And Dave, is this in reference to the CARES Act funding? Yes, okay.
I don't know.
Okay. And then lastly, yes, go ahead. You'll have to unmute yourself there.
Yeah, the reduction I was thinking about, besides the CARES Act, we saw the income in revenues coming into the county. Did you see that in other parts of the state of income revenues from taxes?
I suspect that a lot of our surrounding counties had a reduction because those people are coming here to shop.
Sales tax revenue, yes, okay. That is an interesting question as far as other counties, a comparison. I haven't seen anything on that.
Well, I was concerned about the state. Did the state treasury, did they see revenue increases or decreases in 2020?
I don't know. I don't know.
Probably, maybe one of our state representatives would be able to give you answers on that, possibly. And the last question for Commissioner Gallaher, are there plans to offer a recycling for the county as it was in the past at the transfer station as a short-term recycling idea? This is from Kurt Balke, I believe. I've heard of recycling days for electronics, for example. Several months ago, Franklin County had a recycling day for its residents.
Our IT is working on a recycling for our used equipment now, but we don't have that available right now. As far as general recycling of plastics and such, there is nothing that I know of at the transfer station, probably related to economics. Now, with Patrick Mullen's departure from commission, he was on the board of the transfer station, and I will be assuming that role. So I will have a little bit closer input on that aspect of it in the future.
Okay. And we did have a comment from Donna Hickman in reference to your question, Dave, that many counties are seeing sales tax increases due to people shopping more locally during COVID. So, and I know you were wanting to think more statewide, but yes, there are definitely mixed blessings and cursings in all of this. So we'll take the good for now. We want to thank everyone for attending today, and Commissioner Gallaher and Dr. Gilgour, thank you for your very informative presentations. Stay warm, stay dry, and stay off the roads if you can today. It's looking rough out there, and glad you could all join us via Zoom. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Hey, Candy, this is Tony.
Thank
Myers.
you.
Could I make a comment?
Yes, Tony.
This is Tony with US Tool. I know a lot of you guys, and just try to make a positive comment. I try to give back, and I'm on several state and local boards, and you know, I see the people that are on this call and lived around here for a long time, and I really do appreciate all probably the criticism that all of you guys get, you know, starting with the chamber and the county and MAC and, you know, and all that. And I'm just really excited. I've always been pretty proud of our region, but I'm more excited right now about the relationships and everybody working together. You know, you have the Farmington Chamber and the Deloge Chamber, and Sherry does a great job up there, and the new commission. And I just think it's exciting. And I think with that, we can accomplish a lot. So I appreciate Harold. And I would say, Dr. Gilgour, I cannot imagine what it's like to what you've gone through in your first year as a college president. And everybody, as it relates to everybody, I mean, the social media scrutiny is kind of ridiculous. But, that's with open feedback. That's the only way we can really learn anything. But I think you guys are doing a great job, and I'm very excited about the partnership in the whole region. So thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone. Stay hunkered down. Have a great day. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Patty.
Bye-bye.